it's these people in robes and they're like doing space cocaine and they're like, we need to get the spice from Arrakis out of the hands of the Harkonnens. And because whoever controls the thinking machines controls the world. I'm like, this fucking sucks. It sucks that this is important to me.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we can talk tonight. So what's your favourite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all the how do we know? Oh, forget it. Soren, Bowie, Daniel O'Brien, two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.
So, hello again and welcome to another episode of Quick Question with Soren and Daniel, the podcast where two best friends and comedy writers ask each other questions and give each other answers. I am one half of that podcast, senior writer for Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, author of How to Fight Presidents, and guy whose day is completely getting away from him, Daniel O'Brien, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Soren Bowie, the American dad himself, the left's Joe Rogan. Soren, say hello.
Hey everybody, it's me. I'm coming to you today to talk about crystals, tremoring, a couple of highly controversial Western medicine phenomenon that I think you're all going to really enjoy. I don't know anything about them, but I believe in them wholeheartedly. Let's get into it. Thanks to Masterclass for supporting Quick Question. For a gift that's always on time and lasts a lifetime, you can't do better than Masterclass. Masterclass always has great offers during the holidays, sometimes up to as much as 50% off. Head over to masterclass.com/QQ for their current offer. A big shout out to our delicious, fresh, never frozen sponsor, Factor, delivering delicious, fresh, nutritious, chef-prepared meals ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Head to factormeals.com/50QQ and use code 50QQ to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping.
Great. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing actually pretty good. We're back at work. That's exciting. That feels good. My work is in a different location now, which is tough. Mm-hmm. But I still am working from home a couple days a week, which is really nice. But I'm just like navigating. Here's the deal. When you start something brand new, you fall into a pattern pretty quick, or at least I do. And so I know that within that first week, if I don't have like a system in which I get to also do all the things that I otherwise need to do, like get my taxes ready for the end of the year or work out, then I won't do it. And so this whole past week, I've been going in currently my commute altogether, the gross of my commute is like 2 hours now. So that's 2 hours of a day that I'm missing. And I'm like, well, that was the workout. I'm going to have to figure this out. And so I've been going to work, driving to work, going to work all day, coming home, not getting the children because now my wife has to shoulder that burden because I'm just so far away. Mm-hmm. Getting home at like 6, eating dinner with them, doing their homework, getting them to bed, and then at like 9:15, going to the gym.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
That's the worst. Bad.
It sucks out loud. It's so awful. And it's not even like a romantic thing where like I'm going to the gym and I'm Rocky and I'm alone. We're like, well, at least I'm still committed to the grind. No one else is here, but I'm closing it down. The gym's fucking packed at 9:15. The gym from 9:15 to 11 sucks.
I mean, I have never been at the gym that late. I really fell into a nice pattern of going to my gym every morning. There were a couple of days a week where I take my wife to the ferry that she takes to work, and then I go from there to the gym. And even if I don't take her, like I get up early and I like going to the gym and like knocking it out before work. We are now on hiatus, so I haven't had work to do. And part of me was like, now I can just go to the gym whenever I want. I could have a little morning, I could sip my coffee, I could read my book, and then I'll go to the gym around noon, or I'll go to the gym, made the tremendous mistake of going to the gym around like 4. No. And that's full of youths, just like all youths with their same stupid fucking Paul Mescal hair, and they're all crowding around one bench, and I'm nervous.
Wait, I have a question around them. When those youths are there after their school program, are there backpacks all over the floor at your gym?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Yeah, we solved this problem, kids. Like there are lockers and stuff. I will buy each one of you a little combination lock so that you can come to the gym and I don't have to trip over your backpacks all over the place. Man, I sound like an old man.
I didn't realize how accustomed I'd grown to the morning gym clientele of very old men and a couple of attractive women who are trying to beat the crowds of horrible men. That's my morning team. We all keep to ourselves, and it's great. But when you go any other time and it's like, oh, this is when the youths are here, or this is when like the serious like bros are here. And there was a guy there. It's a smallish gym, and this is one of the times when I went at like 4:15 or so, and we have two machines that are right next to each other, and both machines have pull down cables. Yeah. So two people could theoretically be doing two cable things simultaneously. There's enough machinery for both. And I went up and I saw a big man was occupying one of them and doing things. And I start to move like I'm going to the other one. And then he stops what he's doing on that machine and goes to the other cable machine and is now occupying both of them. Just like this one, I have the cables low, and that one I have the cables high. And he sees me like confused, and he's like, "What do you need? Do you need this?" I was like, "No, I was stuttering like a maniac. I was going to use the cables over there on the other machine that you've claimed." And he was like, I've only got one more set and doing supersets. You could use that one now if you want." I was like, "No, I'll just wait." And he goes, "Nah, I got one more set. Just like work in there. Just do whatever you want." And I said, "No, I'm sorry. I'm out of my mind." And then I found a different corner to the gym, completely changing whatever workout I was gonna do. Just like, okay, I know I was gonna do this cable wood chopping thing, but instead I guess I'm just gonna stretch in the corner. It turns out I wanted to stretch today because I got scared talking to another person.
You had one more set, dude.
I know, but I did. I thought, let me just wait until his set is done. But then I didn't even do that, because even when his set is done, he was still in that area. I was like, I can't come back to this guy, because what if he is like, "Hey, take your headphones off. What do you mean you're out of your mind? Are you okay?" And then I'd have to say, "Brother, no."
I mean, I'm with you that already, like, that's a huge affront. If you're using two different cable sets just because one's like at a higher level than the other, that's like, no, you're not allowed. That's not allowed. 100%. That's not the etiquette way. Like, that's not allowed. But he was really accommodating. Once, like, you called him on it, like, no one was around, so he was like, maybe I'll just try and squeeze this in. Yeah. And when somebody finally came up, he was like, "No, I'll change it. You're right." But you were like, no, you're right. I will leave.
No, in fact, I can't. I don't need that machine because I'm moving to Bosnia. Goodbye.
Yeah, my ticket's for now. All right. I'm sorry that's happening. It is like there's certainly a different vibe in the evening that I do not care for. I even tried once near my working out one night so that I could miss the traffic a little bit. And that means that I'm going to the gym at 5:00, and it's like the very worst time in the world to go to the gym. Not only is it just that there's a lot of people, there's just this confluence of like the worst people are there at that time.
Yeah.
Like some of the worst people you've ever met in your life. Like you're sitting there waiting on a bench and just watching a guy sit on his phone on the bench.
Yeah.
And then he goes he has to do his wraps every single time. He's got wrist wraps, and he takes them off after each set. And then he gets down, he starts with the barbell, and then just stops. And then he goes over to the side of it and looks at it to see if it's even. I don't know what he's fucking doing. And then he goes and sits down again, does a couple sets, terrible sets, and then puts it back down, takes off his wrist wraps, keeps looking at his phone for a while. And like, there's a bunch of people waiting, and he's clear that we're all waiting. And he's just like taking his sweet time. And I'm like, I finally go to him, I'm like, "How many more do you have?" And he goes, "Probably like 3 or 4. And I was like, "Listen, I'm going to work in with you." He was like, "What?" And I was like, this is about my weight. I'm going to work in with you. There's a lot of people waiting, and we'll bang it out early. Mm-hmm. And he was eventually like, okay, I'll do that. But
may I ask you, was "I'm going to work in with you" was that locked and loaded regardless of how many sets he had left?
No, if he had said
Okay.
one, I would have, or one, maybe even two, I would have been like, okay. And now he knows there's like written, there's receipts that like somebody's waiting on you. But when he said 3 or 4, which is also, why are you doing, and he'd already done like 4. So why are you doing 8 sets on the bench?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to work in with you. Okay. And he was like, eventually stuttered, and eventually was like, okay, all right. And then I just worked with this guy. But that kind of like the point I'm at my gym, where I'm like, I'm so sick of everybody's fucking shit here that if I know what the etiquette is, I know how we can all get through this whole thing faster. Nobody wants to be here well, except for Clarence. He really wants to be there and talking to everybody, but like nobody wants to be here. Let's just get through it. And like, if you're breaking etiquette, I'm going to fucking say something. I'm gonna not let you do it. Hey, are you thinking this holiday season about getting a gift that keeps on giving? What would that even look like? What would that be? I know what you're thinking. A book. No, that's dumb. Books are old. Books are out. Classic mistake. Don't go with a book. Go with Masterclass. Teach a man to fish, etc., etc. With Masterclass, your loved ones can learn from the best to become their best. And right now, our listeners can receive up to 50% off at masterclass.com/QQ. Masterclass is the only streaming platform where you can learn and grow with over 200 of the world's best. That's why Wirecutter calls it an invaluable gift. There you go. See, invaluable. They say it. That's why it's the best gift. Don't get a book. Oh, I hate it when people tell you can like get lost in a story over and over again. No, I can't. My brain doesn't work that way. So gift unlimited learning. Learning from any Masterclass instructor anywhere on a smartphone, computer, smart TV, or even in audio mode. Let me just give you a little idea here. Let's say you know somebody who they're just not nailing interviews. They're just not great in person. Let's say that. That's a nice, gentle way of putting it. People who just aren't getting it. Well, there's a masterclass that can help. There's not one on like, hey, here's how to be better on LinkedIn. No, you go to Amy Poehler's and you learn how to overcome your fears with improv. You learn how to be good in the room, to listen, to add on to yes and. Honestly, it's invaluable to have this kind of thing, and the classes really make a difference. 88% of members feel that Masterclass made a positive impact on their lives. Masterclass always has great offers during the holidays, sometimes up to as much as 50% off. Head over to masterclass.com/QQ for their current offer. That's up to 50% off at masterclass.com/QQ. Masterclass.com/QQ.
Soren, I got some other, since we're talking about exercises and the work that we do.
Yeah.
Have I ever vulnerably shared with you the nightmare that is my approach to music notation?
What? No.
Have we ever discussed this? So
No.
you know I'm famously a bass player.
Yes, you are.
Do we have a clip? And then we'll play a clip of it right now, and it's going to be having like the two of us bopping along.
Yeah.
We'll get some footage of you bopping your head in a different episode. And
If it doesn't happen,
put that in here.
This was on Gabe. All this is
Yeah.
on Gabe.
But separate from my rock star past, my oldest brother and sister-in-law, they run a music school, and a couple of times a year they put on performances with the Broadway bound wing of their music school, where every kid gets to do a little solo, and there's a pit band that plays the music for them. It's me and my other brother, our friend Sean, and a rotating group of trumpet players. So the kids get to sing a Broadway show tune with like a little rock band playing beneath them. It's
I love it. I want to see these kids so badly. The kids that are like the Broadway bound, like the kids that are on the Broadway track. I want
Yeah.
to see them so bad.
It's very fun. I don't speak to any of them because Soren, I simply know too much.
Yeah.
I know where all the roads lead, so I don't ever want to pull one of them aside and be like, here is the important function that you are serving to the broader high school theater community, and then you gotta go when your time is up. But anyway, we're playing this music, and we get sheet music from my brother for what we're supposed to be playing. And here's where I am musically, is that I can I have a pretty decent ear for picking out tunes in songs, which is how I've learned a lot of songs as a bass player in my day.
Tough skill.
This is too much music to learn by ear and then commit to memory.
Okay.
I know where every note is on the bass guitar. I know where C sharp, D,
All the hits.
D sharp,
You don't have to keep going, etc.
E.
I'm familiar with notes.
F,
Yeah.
F sharp, G, G sharp, A, B
Can't
flat.
do minors and majors though. Everything's a major. You can't. There's no.
I
no
know where all the
chords.
notes are, and I know when I'm looking at a piece of music, I know what note corresponds to what letter note. I can look at a thing and look at a thing and say like, that is a C, that is a D sharp, and I know on the bass where a C and a D sharp are.
Yeah.
I struggle putting these things together in real time. So if you just like drop sheet music in front of me, I can't quickly look at the sheet music and let that correspond to what I'm doing. So what I do instead, and what I've done, because I used to play in pit bands as a side gig for like 8 years. And what I've done in all of those pit bands, playing full shows, and now these Broadway-bound shows, is I go through the music, and a note at a time, I write the letter of the note above the note. So you can see the staff, and then above it, you'll see like A, C sharp, G, A, C sharp, G. And because I can look at the letters, and play that as if I'm sight reading. And it's a very long process, and I'm looking at my fucking music now, and not only do I, because I'm also not great at like reading the rhythm of staff music.
Okay.
The
eighth note, 16th notes.
how long? Like
Yeah.
I know it intellectually, but like again, like looking at it very quickly
Whole
is
notes,
difficult. So
quarter notes.
triplets. So in addition to having to write the notes above the music, I also, if the rhythmic pattern changes, I also need to notate that in a way that makes sense to me. So sometimes I will write like 1, 2, 1, or like a series of dashes that make sense in my brain that won't make sense to anyone else. And there are other times where like I'm playing a D now, and then I need to play a D an octave up, and I can't just notate that. I mean, the music notates it perfectly, but when I'm just writing letters, I'll write a D, and then I will either I'll write another D that is like physically higher on the page, or I'll write D with a little caret pointing up to let me know that this one is an octave up. It is, I think, on balance, more little notation figures than is in any staff music anywhere. Like
Right.
I have more.
Touch
little,
yourself to read something that's completely useless.
I invented a language that's more complicated than any of the language that exists already, but it's the only thing I know at this point, and it's such a strange, like, complicated nightmare. And sometimes I'm like playing along, and I'll see a past note that was like, Daniel, this is like that one part. I'm like, God, this music is great. This is so easy to read because I know what I'm talking about when I say that one part.
Yeah, it's a language that's just your own. You are Nell, but you don't have a twin.
Right.
So
It's such any real musician would be so disgusted to see my sheet music, and I hide it
show
from
your
real
brother.
musicians.
You
No,
can't show-
no, he knows what I'm doing. He knows he sees all the sins.
So I'm with you in terms of like in the same way that I think somebody can sing really well is just magic. When I see somebody sit down at a piano and open up a book and they've never played a song before and they're looking at the song and they're playing it, I'm like, you are on another level. Like this is not something I would. You are fluent in this language, and I never will be. I am with you that like writing the name of the note above it, I would have to do because I have to translate every single time. I'm like, all right, well, let's see. Where is this one? Oh, it's in between the lines. Well, let's see. That's face. And this is where the C is. That's a C. That's a C. And like, I got to do it every single time. So writing it above, that's exactly what I would do. In fact, I might even do like a tablature on the top because I still can't even be like A. All right, well, how should I play that A? Should
If
I
I
play
could
that as an
write
open
tabs-
string A, or should I play?
If I could quickly write tabs, then I would do that. And I'm sure someone in the comments will let us know that there's like a way to generate tabs that I just have never looked into, or maybe it costs money or something like that. And so it's just never going to happen for me. But I also, maybe I wouldn't write tabs because it's helpful for me to know exactly what measure I'm on. And the sheet music has the lyrics. So if I get completely lost, I could just listen to what the little kid is singing and know where to go on the page that way. Right. So if I was writing my own tabs, I would also have to write the lyrics. And that's solve my problem of writing in 3 different languages to stave off having to learn how to actually read music.
The pattern of the music, or like the percussion of the music that you're describing, though, that you write that out, that's insane to me. That seems like so much extra work over just recognizing the difference between a quarter and an eighth.
And that part my brother might not know, because I don't think, as a bass player, you don't love to hear that from your rhythm section. That I don't know how to read
of the song. It's like a drummer being like, I don't understand all these little things. I'm just gonna write my own out.
I know how each drum sounds and how they work. I just don't know when you want me to do them based on these squiggles.
Hey everyone. Notice how your days are getting shorter, but your to-do lists aren't? I notice that all the time. There's just not enough time in the day, especially when the sun is setting so early. Well, power through your busy days with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. From breakfast to dinner, anything in between, Factor has an easy, nutritious option to keep you fueled and feeling your best. Whether you like routine or you enjoy mixing things up, Factor has you covered with 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenience options you can add to your box, like keto cookies, pressed juices, or smoothies. Smoothies, remember smoothies? When you had time for smoothies? You drive past that smoothie place now and you think, those aren't for me. I'm not the type of person who can stop. I'm so busy. Well, now you got smoothies back in your life. Congratulations. Don't let shorter days slow you down. Stay energized with America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. Head to factormeals.com/50QQ and use code 50QQ to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. Now I know what you're thinking. You've been to the refrigerated meal section at the store and been like, I don't know. I've had that type of meal. I don't know if it's any good. Well, you haven't tried Factor, my friends, and I was in the same boat as you. But I've had Factor, and honestly, some of the best meals I've had. Food I didn't even think I was going to be eating. Food I thought also was not for me other than smoothies. You can get Peruvian shrimp there. You can get sweet potato and chickpea curry. You can have taste that your mouth hasn't experienced in years. And there's no sacrificing quality for convenience with Factor. Weekly menus offer ways to treat yourself to a restaurant-like meal experience with gourmet plus dishes that feature premium proteins and seasonal sides like broccolini, leeks, and asparagus. How does truffle butter filet mignon sound? Or garlic herb roasted barramundi sound? Right? Sounds delicious, and it is. Stay on your A game with quality ingredients you can trust and quality you can taste in every one of Factor's fresh, never frozen meals. Head to factormeals.com/50QQ and use code 50QQ to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code 50QQ at factormeals.com/50QQ to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping while your subscription is active. God damn it. I wonder if it just would have been, if you could go back now, would it have just been easier to learn how to read music?
It's a really great question because I started learning bass kind of late, I think, at like 6th grade. And I had a little bit of music understanding because before that I was learning clarinet. I took clarinet for like 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I can really play clarinet, or I could certainly at that time play clarinet in treble clef, reading music by sight easily. Then picking up bass, I just didn't have the patience to really put that same kind of work into learning bass clef, even though it's not like a huge transformation. And I also, like, bass was just so immediately fun. And I wanted to put a song on my CD player and play along with it. And I got lucky and cursed that I had a decent enough ear that I could figure out a lot of songs. Then I was like, well, then what the fuck do I need the homework part of this? Because when I was first playing bass, I didn't have any ambitions of being an almost 40-year-old pit band player for children.
Yeah.
I was going to be a rock star.
Yeah,
and
you
it
don't,
just
you
seemed
don't
like
start playing bass thinking you're going to have a music stand in front of you while you're
No.
doing it and hustling to like turn the page as you're like in the middle of something. That's
Yeah.
that's like that's not cool. That is
no,
not a cool
absolutely
look.
not. And I got into playing bass
To be cool.
to be cool. But I don't know, like, because I don't. Certainly now, it would be a great benefit if I could read music perfectly. But I enjoyed my time, and I starting with a good ear and then like working on that ear was like its own valuable skill that I like.
Yeah, I guess you would get more dependent on one or the other because you did. I mean, you got
Yeah.
more dependent on one, but I think that's just nature of like learning a thing. You start to fall into I have this workaround, and then that becomes and then you get another workaround, and then like at a certain part, you either have to decide, well, I'm just going to relearn this the way that it's decided that everybody does it, or you're going to be like, I live by workarounds. That's all I am. That's who I am as a person. I mean, it's probably beneficial to you that you're good at memorization. The fact that you're good at acting is that you know songs backwards and forwards, and you can put a lot of songs in your brain.
That's my other trick. I put trick in quotes. Is I play these songs. We do 2 of these concerts a year, and I play them 10,000 hours. I play the shit out of these songs because, again, even my scribbled notations, they're not perfect. So I need to play them so many times that the songs are just like in my bones, because if I can't flip the page fast enough, I still need to be able to play it. So I play these things enough that they're just like the rhythm and the music is in my blood by the end of it, which is more work than I think my brother wants me to be putting into these.
Yeah, but still, you want it to be good.
Fun
You want it to be
concerts.
good for the kids when there's these young children who are
It also
confused.
means my
when you're a jet all the way.
all the kids that I want to sit down and be like, hey, you're having fun. I just want you to know, I wish they would have told me, you don't want to be an actor. You just want community and you hate sports. Like, don't attach your personality. Don't live and die if you don't get a part or if you don't get into college for acting, because the real thing is you want a like-minded group of friends who share your interests, and you get to do a thing that is not Little League.
Yeah, you found this community of people that all really enjoy touching each other, and that seems to be fine.
Yeah,
and like
it
that's
doesn't
really
mean you
fun.
want to be an actor.
Yeah, well, everybody's looking for that. Everybody wants that.
The other one more side effect of this music life is it absolutely fucks my Spotify Wrapped every year when Spotify is like, here's what you've been listening to, and it's like a chaotic mix of songs from my running playlist that I listen to a million times, and also like, well, you have an eclectic taste, but the one song you played the most out of everything was Someone Gets Hurt from Mean Girls the Musical. It's like, yeah, I really wanted to nail that one.
I was having a hard time with the middle. The bridge of that is complicated. So this is another thing you'll notice someday when you have children is your Spotify means nothing to you anymore. Like your Spotify doesn't belong to you. It's like you get to the Wrapped and you're like, why on earth would I even look at this? What is this going to give me? It's going to tell me that I listened to Be Prepared from the fucking Lion King more than anything else this year. The only saving grace is that my son is slowly growing into good musical taste. Mm-hmm. He's no longer in. Go ahead.
Be Prepared rips.
Be Prepared's a good song. But it's not
we
even
do
like,
it real quick?
hey, he's not even like I heard this in a movie and now I want to listen to it. He will hear a song on the radio or, well, not on the radio, but like I'll play a song and he'll be like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, that's this band called Grammatic. That's a little song called Tranquilo. And he's like, I like that a lot. And I'm like, you're doing good. Like, this is good taste. That is a cool, slow riff jam. That's great. He also really likes songs that don't have a ton of lyrics. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. I don't know if he's afraid of them. If he's like, I don't know what any of this means, and I don't want to embarrass myself by saying I like a song and I don't know, and everyone else is like, do you know what that's about? You know what Brick is about? So he really likes songs with no lyrics, and like he's into these bands that I listen to when I write a lot. And so it's very easy to listen to music with him. Rat-a-tat, he likes Explosions in the Sky. He loves this band called Too Many Zoos. Have you heard of them?
No. Was that the tagline for that Cameron Crowe film?
This is the sequel to I Bought a Zoo. After like you just can't stop. Like it becomes an obsession. Too Many Zoos is a band of 3 guys. One of them plays a walking bass drum, like a marching bass drum.
Yeah.
He also has some other little percussion stuff that he does, and some bells and things like that. There's one of them plays the trumpet, and one of them plays the bass sax. And they rip, dude. They are fucking awesome. If you want to check them out, just look at a song called Warriors. It's wonderful.
Warriors?
But really all their songs. Subway Gods is a really good
Steph Curry
song.
Warriors?
Oh, there you go. Exactly, yeah. Too Many Zoos. He is into them, and in a way where he's like, we get in the car and he's like, can we listen to Warriors? And I'm like, I would love to listen to Warriors. This is great. We're on the same page. This is wonderful.
So one more quick music and children-related story, and then we gotta get into the show, Soren. We got so much to get into. There's a different music thing that also happens with one of my brothers. So a friend of ours, this guy, Danny, every year in November to raise money for Movember and prostate cancer awareness and treatment, he and my brother and another one of our friends, Sean, they learn a bunch of songs as a guitar, bass, drums trio, and they have a party. It's mostly family and friends, and there's like a set list of songs that they've learned. And you can anyone can come up and sing, like live karaoke kind of thing. And it's a mix of songs like that they love and a couple of requests that they've gotten for friends. It's very fun. None of them are like professional musicians full time. They're all perfectly good at their instruments to do this exact thing of like, we're going to play Zombie. We're going to play Come Together. We're going to play Damn It by Blink-182. These kinds of things that are like fun to get up there and sing. I have gone the last couple of years and try to get up and sing a song to help out. No one's a trained singer. It's just fun. I recommend it. No one should be too cool for singing in front of their friends and family. As they were leading up to this, and again, a lot of the songs are like by design pretty well known. So even if you're not up there singing, you could sing from the crowd. And my brother's daughter got really into this song by a band called Fastball that my brothers and we all love very much. They're known for that song, The Way, that came out in maybe 2000 or maybe the 90s. And Out of My Head, they had like 2 or 3 heavy rotation radio hits. And then, as far as most people know, disappeared. We, O'Briens, kept up with them and kept buying their albums, and we liked them. And there's a song on one of their albums, Falling Upstairs is the album, and the song is called Louie Louie. And it's like a fun banger that I don't know that it...
Is it Louie Louie? Is it the Louie, like the
It's not the one you know.
Okay,
no.
all right.
It's not any of the other 2 more famous songs that go Louie Louie. It's not Louie Louie or the Louis C.K. theme song. It is a third less famous Louie Louie song. And it's fun. We like it. My niece loves that song. Okay. It's just the same way that your son is like, I want to listen to Warriors. She was like, can we listen to Louie, 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 Louie? And so my brother would play it all the time in the car for her, and she loved it. And then leading up to this quote-unquote concert karaoke thing, she was like, Daddy, are you going to play Louie Louie for the karaoke show? And he was like, it's my daughter. I'm not going to say no. And so he got the rest of the band to learn this song that very few people know. And then contacted me in advance to be like, we're going to play the song for Liddy. She's going to love it. Will you sing it? Because we can't get anyone else to sing it. No, we can't count on anyone who's going to know this song to sing it. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't really want to do it. But of course, like I practiced it and then got up to do the due diligence of singing that song. And last year when we had this concert thing, Liddy was front and center and she loved everything that she saw. And she was the happiest kid in the world, all the singing and dancing. And she wanted to jump and play and be part of it. This year, something happened. The music was scary and loud and she didn't like it. And then it was like, Lydia, we're going to do Louie Louie now. And she was, no! And she's like screaming, wants to run to the other room. And my sister-in-law is like, just start playing the song. Daniel, get up and sing it. And then when she sees her uncle singing this song and her dad is playing the drums, she's going to love it. She's going to be out here. Never fucking showed. So we're just 4 adults who learned this borderline obscure fastball song from an album that came out in 2005. Yeah. And here we are singing it, looking for the one person who wants it, and she refuses to come.
Not having it. That's wonderful. Kids are just people on mushrooms. They're like, the energy shifts for them, and they're like, I hate this place. I hate everything about it. I think I want to die. You're like, no, hold on. We're just in a different room now. Like nothing has really changed. All the same people are here.
With family at like a child's Halloween costume parade a couple years ago, there's all the little kids being Spider-Man and Captain America and Iron Man, and one little kid who is like an incredibly competent werewolf costume. And as soon as I don't know this kid, I know his parents a little bit, and as soon as the kid looks around at everything, just goes to the dad and is like, I wanted to be Captain America. Why did you make me a wolf? And the dad just like seeing the dad's face sink and knowing that like, we talked about this. We talked about this so many times. I've never wanted to be a werewolf. What do you mean? You threw a tantrum in the store.
This was not my dream. It wasn't my dream you would be a wolf, and I like forced it on you. We tried so many times to get you to be something else. Yeah. My son also came home one day from school. He had seen a breakdancing class. I guess after school there's like other programs, and he saw breakdancing, and he was like, they played this song, and he's already frustrated. He's already like, there's no way I'm going to find this song again. And he's like, no, I don't even know how to describe it. And I'm like, well, just try to sing a little bit of it. And he's like, okay. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. And I'm like, next episode. Yeah, of course. Yeah, like I know that. Yeah, like you came to the right place, man. That's a great song. Let's listen to it right now. And like when you find that, because they don't have phones, right? Like kids they're us from 2 decades ago, where they're like, you hear something and you're like, fuck, that was awesome. Well, I hope that turns up in my life again.
I got really hung up on there's a breakdancing club at his school.
Yeah, there's a lot of good clubs. Some bad ones too. But yeah, there's a lot of really great clubs that you can be involved in and that he's just not ready for yet. Yeah. Things that I'm like, he likes the idea of it, but he's a pretty shy kid. And as soon as like you're like, oh, and they do a performance, he's like, out.
Yeah.
Not doing that.
I wonder if my school had breakdancing. Would I still have gone down the clarinet path?
Right.
It's really, really impossible to tell, because the idea of being a good dancer has always been very appealing to me. And breakdancing to 10-year-old Daniel would probably be like, I can do this, of course. I can stomp around and spin in circles on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. And like a lot of it is just the prep. So you're up on your feet, but you're doing that one capoeira motion where you're just like 1 foot forward, the other one sliding behind you. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, yep, that's my wheelhouse. I could do that. And then I'm allowed to just fucking go crazy. Perfect. Yeah. I like that. I'm allowed to just like jump on my hands and stuff. Good. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I didn't really have the option either growing up. It turns out not a lot of breakdancing in Colorado. Probably because that one kid was killed breakdancing.
Oh, wow. What a bummer.
Yeah, little town of Footloose.
Beaumont, Colorado, famously.
How did that work in Footloose? Did somebody die dancing?
I don't quote me on this, but I believe the town reverend who was sort of in charge somehow. Yeah. I think because there was like a party where people drank and danced, and then an accident occurred.
Yeah,
like a fatal accident. Yeah. Then it was like, we need to like partying in general, including dancing, was banned. Yeah. And then Kevin Bacon comes from Chicago and brings dancing to the
to
the people again.
That's such a funny premise. That John Lithgow was like, it's not You can still play chicken on tractors.
Yeah.
You can still drive all you want. Drinking's fine too. There's nothing else to do. I totally get that. But dancing, fuck off.
Yeah. Listen, kids, just do something else with your weird sexual energy. Anything but dancing. Put the evil somewhere else.
Put it in somebody else. I don't care. Should we do our show?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, Daniel, I have a quick question for you.
Shoot.
It's that time of year where I start watching movies that are 4 years old, and I wanted to talk to you, see if you've ever seen the movie Deadpool and Wolverine.
Let's see. How old must I have been? Of course I saw it opening weekend. That was one of those a rare, like, conditions are perfect movie, by which I mean my wife was out of town, so I could go to Deadpool and Wolverine by myself and not feel bad about anything.
Good. Yeah, I watched it finally in installments, as I tend to watch my movies. Oh, fuck. I'm now realizing I'm not going to be able to watch movies for a while because of my new workout schedule. God, R.I.P.
Man.
My last vestige of pop culture. Well, anyway, I watched, before work started again, I watched Deadpool and Wolverine, and so I'm caught up. I'm caught up on culture. I really enjoyed it. I really liked this movie.
I had such a blast. And maybe if I was younger and I took every new movie that came out as a sign of where the world was heading, like some friends of ours like to do, I would have much stronger feelings about why it's bad. I fucking loved it. I loved eating all the candy of that parade of IP cameos and like getting choked up for characters that I don't actually care about, but it's still nice to see them.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Hugh Jackman is great in it. There's still... So Deadpool 2 was like a real dive into some jokes that I thought like were super hack. Like they're like some really hacky, just like low-hanging fruit sex jokes over and over again.
Yeah.
And like a lot of gay jokes and stuff. It's like, what are we... just explain to me, like, what are we laughing at right now?
Yeah.
Tell me why that's funny. But I thought they kind of like pulled it back a little bit for this other movie. And I thought it was like, and he's a great straight man. Turns out Wolverine's a great straight man to have with hanging out with Deadpool. It was wonderful.
Hugh Jackman is just so good in everything. And he throws himself into being Wolverine with such commitment. It's just so endearing. And he's so perfect in it. And I love every second that he's on screen. And like Ryan Reynolds, I'm still fine with the Ryan Reynolds shtick. I agree with you about like the jokes aren't super clever most of the time, and they're not particularly shocking.
Yeah,
because it's 2024, but it's still a super enjoyable thing. I was very curious about your experience because the way big movies go now is I saw it opening day and nothing was spoiled for me. I just got to enjoy it. And maybe within 24 hours, and not just on Twitter, but like YouTube was their homepage was like, here is a clip of Chris Evans as Johnny Storm in Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, a reveal that was super fun in the movie that was immediately on YouTube in its entirety from the studio 24 hours later. And then like within that week, there's all these cameos like Blade, Elektra, Channing Tatum as Gambit. They all show up in a like fun hero reveal towards the end of the movie. And that entire scene was put on there. And the same thing happened with Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness a couple years ago, where the movie comes out and within 5 days, a very crucial cameo-heavy spoiler scene is just dropped in its entirety from, again, the Marvel or 20th Century Fox YouTube account. And I don't understand it. It's like not even a way where if you're reviewing a movie, you can, first of all, if you didn't see a movie and don't want to be spoiled, you don't have to click on a review. But even if you did, they still have the good sense of saying, hey, just in case, there are spoilers in this. Or if you know spoilers run rampant on Twitter, you can avoid Twitter. Go to YouTube and like the thumbnail is Chris Evans as the Human Torch with a description that explicitly lays out what happens in the movie. You can't get away from the spoilers anymore.
It does seem to be particularly pervasive with the MCU. I've seen the trailer now for the new Captain America movie, the Falcon, Captain America,
New World Order, Captain America, New World Order,
and the whole movie's. I mean, I know the plot of the entire movie. I know what like the blows are for each act because there's like a lot of like, can you trust Harrison Ford? I don't think we can trust him as the president. Oh, and then I guess in the third act, Harrison Ford turns into the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
And we're just all we're going to be fine with that. We're going to be fine with already knowing that when we walk into the movie.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that the entire plot of the movie, they bury a lot of that. You're not supposed to know.
Yeah.
He's going to turn into the fucking Hulk.
I wonder if, like, there's got to be some really annoying, ridiculous studio math that makes this make sense on some level, where Marvel can look at the box office and ticket sales for opening weekend of Deadpool and also add in every YouTube stream of every clip that is tagged with Deadpool to inflate the amount of like minutes of Deadpool that have been consumed worldwide just so the numbers are bigger. I don't know what audience that serves. It just seems like, and I can't imagine it serves the filmmakers or actors who worked to make this movie to then just see like, oh, here's the big reveal in YouTube on a tiny screen that people are going to watch before the movie. And you watch enough clips on YouTube that you don't even bother going to see the movie anymore because all the big reveals are spoiled. That sucks for audience, sucks for people in the movie. And that's why I'm 100% certain that it's really good for Marvel in some insidious business way.
I feel so bad for the writers because you're writing a story and you're trying to weave something that's still engaging and interesting and will surprise people. And when the first thing that comes out from the movie is like, hey, look at this surprise. You're like, oh, you fucking, I worked really hard to build that. We do our advertisements, or we were on TBS, American Dad. They would do these little interstitials, or not interstitials, but like you get these little clips of whatever episode was going to be on that night to kind of hype it. I don't know how they choose these. I'm sure that they're looking for the most dynamic thing. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times the most dynamic thing, and the thing that you think is also the funniest, is going to be like that third act twist. And so your episode will be coming on and you'll see like a clip of it and you're like, oh shit, that was my whole load. Like that was the best part. That was the thing that I liked the most. And of course, it's just a sitcom. It doesn't matter nearly as much as like an entire movie. But even then, you're like, I tried to make something that was really fun and would be interesting and would surprise people when they got to it, and you just gave it all away.
The entire time that you were talking, all I was thinking about is the way we release episodes of Quick Question now. There is a cold open before we get into the episode that is like plucked from somewhere else in the episode. I hope they pick this section. I hope they pick the section about you talking about how third act surprises get ruined, and that's how we open the episode.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Gabe, before this podcast, let us know that there was a discourse I wasn't aware of, that people are saying Ryan Reynolds isn't funny. Don't understand that. I think that even from like Two Girls, a Guy at a Pizza Place or whatever that show was called, I was immediately, because I have great Stardar.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I'm great when I saw. Let me just back up all the way to Thelma and Louise.
I found you with a bunch of other comedy writers on Blue Sky with a comedy writer Stardar kit.
Stardar. When I first saw Thelma and Louise, I was like, "Who is this guy in the cowboy hat? This boy is going to be a star."
Yeah.
This boy's going to be great.
When you first saw Thelma and Louise.
And I of course also did it again when I was watching Bullet Train and what's his name?
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Or I was like, this kid's got it. This kid's
10 years into his career.
10 years into it. I knew that he was going to go places.
I mean, I can't say I'm any better because when the first rebooted Star Trek came out and I was like, this Chris Pine kid, he's fucking got it. I was telling everybody I know, like, this guy's going to be a star. And someone should have shut me up and be like, yeah, you know who clocked that? J.J. Abrams, you idiot.
Yeah.
That's why they made him Kirk, you moron.
It's so funny you bring him up because Smoking Aces was a movie where I was like, I hate this movie, but I cannot get enough of him. I would watch him the whole time. He's so engaging. This kid's got it. But yes, I felt that way about Ryan Reynolds early on. I still think that like his deliveries, everything, even jokes that I would, if I was to see those on paper, a lot of the jokes from that movie, I'd be like, we could beat this. Yeah. But his delivery, I'm like, no, this was the right choice. He's so funny.
I have the same arc as you, where I watched Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, and then eventually Two Guys and a Girl. And that show I thought was fine and funny enough, but he was someone that was like, this guy's hilarious. I want to see this guy do anything. And then it sucks because then he did lots of things that I didn't enjoy because he does have a very specific thing. And like they've tried to do like serious action star and they've tried to do romantic comedy, and there's only been like and like very big audacious comedies, and there's only a few things that have really clicked and hit well. And there was a pre-Deadpool time in his career where it just seemed like, man, we just can't find the right fucking thing for this Ryan Reynolds guy. We all kind of agree that we like him. He's funny and handsome, and going along with like the Army Hammer Glenn Powell school of life, he should be famous and an actor. Look how tall and handsome he is. I don't understand. Yeah. He's got sort of like resting Vancouver face where he's like, he's blandly handsome in a kind of forgettable way, but otherwise he's resting charming Vancouver and likable. Face. That can't be my invention. No, there's no way. I wish I could credit that, but I don't. Well,
that's wonderful.
It is. It was surely in a review of a Netflix or Hallmark Christmas movie that I didn't watch, but for some reason consumed the reviews of.
Such a great
it's
term.
Perfect.
Just like monotonously beautiful.
Yeah.
That's great.
But not in an interesting way. It sucks.
No. Yeah, it's borderline boring.
Yeah. But like we all agreed, like, yeah, he can be one of our stars. We just haven't loved much of, I don't know if it was just his choices or what, but then the Deadpool movies came around and it was like, this is finally a good match of persona and film surrounding it. And I loved that. And then at some point, we as a society, this is the discourse that Gabe was referring to, we have turned on Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. And there are a couple of factors. One is he is everywhere. There was the relentless advertising campaign around Deadpool Wolverine.
See, this is why it hasn't been a problem for me. I don't see him in anything.
Yeah. That shit was everywhere. And he is separate from that. He is the co-founder of Mint Mobile, and so he's in a lot of commercials on podcasts and on YouTube and on television. You just see and hear from him a lot, and that was one thing. People just getting sort of sick of it. Another part of it, I think people didn't love Deadpool and Wolverine as much as you and I did for whatever reasons they have.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think for a lot of people it was like, this is a movie with no real plot, and it is just sort of like a celebration of intellectual property. And
okay. I think the parade of cameos and stuff. I understand, but you look at it from a perspective of this movie is just planes, trains, and automobiles with two superheroes. Yeah, and it's way more fun.
I think so too. I think that's a great way of succinctly putting it. Our buddy, friend of the show, Jason Pargin, wrote about the movie on his Substack, and one of his problems with it was that to really enjoy the movie, you as an audience also needed to be aware of the 20th Century Fox and Marvel merger, because that is
inside baseball shit.
A hugely important part of this. And for him, that was like, what does this say about the future of movies if this is like a plot point is something that is like the business of the studio behind this? Isn't that silly? Like, no, it's not. Next question.
Yeah. Also, that's the point of Deadpool. Deadpool breaks down that fourth wall. Also, like that Fox is like a long history of this. That's what The Simpsons did all the time. We were fine 100%. With it. We were like, oh, I guess Fox sucks.
Yeah. But that's part of it. People getting a little bit sick of Ryan Reynolds. People not loving that movie. People seeing him in the Mint Mobile commercials. There was also Martha Stewart released a Netflix documentary That's awesome and worth. I think Martha
Scathing
Stewart's
Ryan Reynolds
so
documentary by
fucking
Martha
cool.
Stewart.
But because she's in this documentary, she has been making the interview rounds, and a pull quote of hers came out that was thinking Ryan Reynolds is not funny, and which is a very funny stance for Martha Stewart to have.
No way she said that.
Of all the people to pluck out of the world, just be like, I don't think Ryan Reynolds is funny. And it gets even funnier as a take when you realize she's not talking about Deadpool or If. She is Ryan Reynolds' neighbor, and she doesn't find him funny personally.
Good.
Which is
you
just
don't want a dude who's
great.
on as your neighbor.
Yeah, you guys don't have much in common. It's okay if you don't like the same things.
Yeah.
And so people like that picked up steam. People were on the Ryan Reynolds hater bandwagon, and I just don't see it. I understand if you're sick of something via overexposure, you can't control it at that point. You're not disliking someone. You're just like, you've been bombarded, and you can't handle it anymore. He's funny. Like I don't know what else to say about it. He's not the funniest person in the world. But he's funny. He still makes me laugh. I have a soft spot for Life because when the writers were on strike for 148 days, all of the late night hosts got together and created a short-lived podcast called Strike Force 5 that they were doing to fill their time. Yeah. And they were using the money that they generated from ad sales to pay a lot of the support staff that was out of work during that time. And Ryan Reynolds was like a massive angel investor in that endeavor. Just a guy who was like, I'll advertise Mint Mobile on your podcast. I'll put a lot of money that went into like the pockets of my friends who were out of work during the strike. So like, I'm clearly like forever biased in favor of Ryan Reynolds. But even if I wasn't, it's okay to say you didn't like Deadpool or that you didn't like the marketing and that he's funny. And he just got like a certain thing about him that is like, this fucking scamp.
He's very engaging. He's very charismatic on screen. And like, his deliveries on a lot of stuff where I'm like, that was you. You're doing all the heavy lifting there. That joke was funny because of you. You made that, like the delivery of it was incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can totally understand now why there might be some Ryan Reynolds hate. I understand the oversaturation and not a thing that I've been exposed to whatsoever. Yeah. I knew that like Wrexham existed and I was like, that's gotta be the only thing he's doing, right? He bought a football team. That takes a lot of work, but I guess he's doing a lot of other things.
It's a wild, that media tour was everywhere that I looked, but it's wild the stuff that does miss you because towards the end of our season, I was noticing a lot of jokes that were pitched for Last Week Tonight in gangs or in scripts. A lot of them were about the relentless advertising campaign of Wicked. And to hear New York writers talk about it, they could not escape fucking Wicked. And that's a thing that is just missing me as someone who lives in New Jersey and doesn't like, we don't really have billboards everywhere. We don't have buses and bus stops that are plastered with the same posters over and over again. So it really feels like you're living in completely different worlds when an otherwise normal coworker is like, isn't everyone sick of this Wicked stuff? And I'm like, there's a Wicked movie? What's up? When's it coming out? Someone tell me.
It is. So I'll say, we talked last time about the card that I had written for you at your wedding. I did a lot of there's a lot of very small jokes in it about different, just like getting the names of stuff wrong. When I showed it to my wife to look at it to see if there was anything wrong with what I had written, she was like, no, this is really nice, but didn't laugh once. And I'm like, do you know that these are all wrong? And she was like, oh, no, I had no idea. Because she's just not exposed to that stuff. She's lived so far outside my world of even pop culture. Her island is even further out to sea than mine. And I was like, oh, the world must be so different from you. You watch a movie, there's no expectation for what will happen next because she hasn't seen 100,000 movies.
My wife had a very similar experience because we read all the cards together and she sees almost no movies. She's big into documentaries and basketball, and that's the viewing that we do. And every once in a while, we'll agree on a sitcom and we'll watch that. But for the most part, she's just not super interested in movies and shows because she is a healthy adult. And we're reading this card together and we both finish it. And she's like, that's so sweet. It's like, it is very sweet. I'm sure it just looks like a really sweet card with a bunch of movie quotes in it.
That's what Colleen thought it was. And I think there's like a little bit of disappointment in her eyes. Like, I thought you would do something funny. Oh, okay. I see what's happening here.
I have had, we're almost out of time because I don't want to do it anymore. But this does segue into how humiliated I am, I guess, by my life, but mostly by like what prestige TV is now. It just so happens that a lot of like the big HBO shows and the Disney Plus Marvel shows that make up modern culture are on paper very silly. And so when I'm hanging out with my wife and she's going to go to work or she's going to go somewhere else or she's working from home, I was like, a show that is important to me that I need to watch because I like to stay on top of it. This is I'm a TV writer and I want to see my show on my prestige network. So I'm going to watch it. And like for the last 2 years of living together, it's always been it's fucking Dragons or now Dune, where I was like, okay, honey, enjoy work. I'm going to put on my serious show. And it's these people in robes and they're like doing space cocaine. And they're like, we need to get the spice from Arrakis out of the hands of the Harkonnens. And because whoever controls the thinking machines controls the world. I'm like, this fucking sucks. It sucks that this is important to me. It sucks that all of the biggest shows in the world right now are about dragons and space cocaine and Star Wars. It's such a bummer.
Yeah.
That you can hear me watching my Marvel witchcraft show in the other room.
I'd be like, I don't know. I never thought I'd be here. I never thought I'd be in this position. I understand from the outside how this looks. I don't like it either. My shit sucks.
Yeah.
But I love it.
So I was like, hey, honey, can we, are you done watching your dragon show so we could put on this documentary about John Benet Ramsey? And I'm like, how do I express that my thing's more important than your thing? Evidence would suggest it's not.
I hear it. I hear it when we say it out loud that it's not. Also, no, we can't because I got to watch the after show. There's a little bonus after show.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard in the beginning, but they say stick
episode.
around for after the episode for some scoop, because even though you watched me watch this entire episode and like pause it, there's a lot I didn't understand. I need them to break it down why it's important that this person betrayed that person.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for listening to the show. This has been Quick Question with Soren and Daniel. You knew that. You can follow us, Daniel and I, on Blue Sky, where we occasionally do jokes. I haven't actually done much lately. The work has been more fulfilling, and you'll notice that when I'm feeling emotionally fulfilled, I don't post as much. But you can also find clips of this show if you want to go to Instagram. I think there's still some on X as well. But you can find full versions of this podcast in video form if you want to go to YouTube, or you can find it on... No, I don't think you can on Apple Podcasts. If you want to find full videos of this podcast, you can do it on YouTube. If you would like more content, if you can't get enough of Dan and I, you can go to Patreon, and you can become a Patreon subscriber of ours, wherein you will get access to free content. Every other week, we do another version of this show, which is a little more unbuttoned, a little bit shorter too, but it's hard to believe there's anything more unbuttoned than what we just fucking did, but there is. And... you can also go to, you can get that same content if you subscribe through Apple Podcasts. If you liked our theme song, that's by Me Rex. You can find their music anywhere you stream music, or you can go get full albums at merex.bandcamp.com. That feels like, Jesus Christ, I almost forgot Gabe. You can find Gabe Harder absolutely nowhere still. Gabe Harder is exclusively ours. He is the glue to this podcast. He's kept it alive. He's kept us going, and he does everything you like about the podcast. If you find little video clips, you're like, man, this is really good. This is what the whole show should be. Gabe fucking knew. That's why he made that little clip. Gabe's the guy. Happy birthday, everybody. Goodbye.
Happy birthday.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? What's your favorite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all the weeks on? Oh, forget it. Soren, Bowie, Daniel O'Brien. Two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.